Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive wisdom and insight, and we go as guided. And we are closing out this first month of a 10/1 year, 2026, with Neptune having crossed the threshold from the final degree of Pisces, the end of the astrological wheel, a 165-year journey, to that 0 point of Aries, this brand new beginning. Welcome, Alicia. And so there's so much to cover, and I just want to jump into, so we're going to go straight ahead because we are in season 5 of Weekly Wisdom and Insights. And the unseen, welcome, Kiki, and the unseen has been guiding us for these since 11/17/2021. Well, here we are at the final end of January 2026. And we really have 3 triple ones. So we have, because January is a 1, 2026 is a 10, which is a 1, and then 28, 2 and 8 becomes a 10, which is a 1. So we have these triple ones and this critical mass adjust and the difficult beginnings to persevere. We are in major transition time. These first 90 days of 2026 are epic. By the time we hit April, it's like we're in cruise control, is what the unseen is saying. But these first 90 days, it's all acceleration. We're moving from earth and water to fire and air. We'll finish up the last major planet changes signs on the 26th of April, 2026. And so let's look at the astrological chart here. We're working with the Neptune enters Aries chart. And one of the first things that came when I was looking at, again, I read astrology intuitively, and you'll see on the kind of at about 3 o'clock on the right of the chart, this stellium of planets. We have Mars, Pluto, the Sun, Mercury, and Venus, all conjunct in Aquarius. This era of we the people and personal empowerment, and personal empowerment meaning collective, the unity of us, and how all of that is happening simultaneously while Neptune just crossed the threshold into 0 point Aries. Saturn is coming right behind it. They're going to meet on the 20th, I believe, of February at 0 point Aries. They'll be exactly conjunct. And then all of this is being aspected by all the planets. You see that all of them are in 1/2 of the wheel. So there's a lot of concentrated energy, effort to advance, fire, and air, to advance us, to move us forward. This is about forward, not back. And so when I looked at that chart, what I heard was, here comes the sun, S-U-N, S-O-N, and then slaying the head of the dragon. Well, why? Because in this chart, the inner circle it's like a canopy umbrella. So we are both being shaded, protected, nourished in this massive transition. And yet you see the red lines, those denote opposition. So the moon is in opposition to all of these personal planets. Well, the moon, of course, can conceal, but it can reveal. And it's personal. So here's this stellium of planets, all in Aquarius. They're being opposed. Welcome, Olivia. They're being opposed by the sun in Taurus. And so there was this, like, slicing the head off. You see how it's intersecting the triangle. So the upper part is separated. The head is separated from the body. This is where that slaying of the dragon is coming in. And while we're there, it is number 4. It's foundational from the unseen. And they said, having slayed the head of the dragon, we move forward with peace, reverence, and renewed determination. Determination is our key word. I'm going to come to it in just a second. But here's slaying the dragon. Slaying the head of the dragon refers to defeating a central foundational evil or overcoming a major core obstacle, often symbolizing the triumph of good over chaos or the ego. It is heavily rooted in the myth of St. George and biblical scripture, Revelation 12, regarding Satan, symbolizing total victory through spiritual or mental strength. With St. George and the dragon, it represents the consummate knight, K-N-I-G-H-T, the consummate knight overcoming evil. The narrative popular in medieval times often featured St. George saving a city by slaying a dragon with a lance. In biblical imagery, it refers to the defeat of Satan, the dragon, the serpent, by Archangel Michael, or the final future destruction of the sea dragon, Leviathan. And it's overcoming evil. It symbolizes the victory of faith and righteousness over the principality and powers that rebel against the divine. So we have this having slayed the head of the dragon. They're placing this as number 4, and they're placing it slayed in the past tense. So while this may be simultaneously happening, it's a fait accompli. It's done. And we've talked many times where the unseen showed us that ancient dragon, if you will, its body chained down, it's crisscrossed, so its body and only its neck and its head was flailing and moving about. And then they said it's just with this lance, and the neck, the head is lopped off. This is what we're talking about. Having slayed the head of the dragon, we move forward with peace, reverence, and renewed determination. And determination is our key word. And so let me bring that up. Keyword. Here we are. And you see this beautiful lion, this determination on the face of the lion. The house of Judah representing the lion. So it's Master Jesus and so forth. And so this determination, firmness of purpose, resoluteness, the act of coming to a decision or of fixing or settling a purpose, the process of making a decision, reaching a conclusion, or ascertaining the exact nature of something. The exact nature, truth. Spiritually, determination is the unwavering, purposeful resolve to pursue divine goals, spiritual growth, or inner transformation despite obstacles. This is about reaching higher, reaching for the stars, reaching beyond the ordinary for the extraordinary. It acts as a spiritual exercise that transcends human willpower by anchoring the soul in faith, conviction, and divine strength, divine will. It is the conscious, persistent commitment to align one's life with higher values and divine will. So we are literally, as Neptune has just crossed into this 0 point of Aries, first time in 165 years. Saturn will join it in the coming weeks. We have an upcoming solar eclipse. We have the Chinese New Year going from the yin wood snake to the yang fire horse. All of this is happening. And then there's a lunar eclipse on the 20th of March. I mean, all of this is happening in this first 90 days. Not to mention then that final, cherry on the top of the cake. I believe it's Uranus that moves it's either Uranus or Jupiter that moves. It's the final one on the April 26, 2026. So we have all of this. Well, what's the main theme for this crossing of the threshold? Neptune moving into 0 point Aries. Our main theme, and this gave me goosebumps, they said ready, the unseen said ready or not, and not is ready or not, N-O-T, but also K-N-O-T. And so they said ready or not, exclamation point, the door opens. The door is heavily associated with Master Jesus, with the second coming. There are many biblical references for it, but it's also denoted, the door is also highly referenced as our heart. And yes, Kiki is saying fire melts ice, exactly. And welcome, Heather. And so, and Olivia is saying slaying the dragon can't come soon enough. And so, yes, everything, divine time, divine order. But here's this beautiful message from the unseen. Ready or not, the door opens. And there were images that the unseen was speaking about immediately about with the K-N-O-T, the knot, like Alexander the Great and the Gordian knot. And how the Gordian knot, of course, was so intricately knotted, tied. It was about prophecy. It was about covenants. So there's an aspect here of ready or not, the door opens, that this has to do with prophecy, covenants, tying the knot, getting married, these commitments, commitment to a higher relationship with self, in unity with another, in unity with source, in alignment with soul source connection, the divine. So there's many different meanings, layers to this ready or not, the door opens. And it goes to, it's Revelation 3:20. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and eat with him and he with me. This is a statement attributed to Master Jesus. And so, again, there's heavy reference that from a biblical reference, but for all of us in a global a spiritual reference of ready or not, the door opens. And so when that higher octave of yourself, your divine self, the divine, presents itself to you, ready or not, the door opens. What you choose to do with it is up to you. 8 billion plus souls, free will, so forth, but there's destiny involved here. And so it is about, do you cross through the threshold? Do you walk through the door? Do you hear your higher calling? And do you reach for the stars? Do you accept it? Do you align with it? Do you take the narrow path? Threading the needle, the narrow path of victory. Do you choose that path, or are you accepting the broad path? It's a lesser path. So we have, again, I'm just bringing up this beautiful image. Ready or not, the door opens. So let's talk about ready or not first. So ready or not spiritually signifies a call for constant preparedness for divine arrival or major spiritual events. It's rooted in biblical parables like the 10 maidens, emphasizing faith, spiritual alertness, and living righteously as Master Jesus' return is imminent. Remember, we had that. They gave us 4 different ways on the first show of January. Number 5 from the unseen was eminent domain. Eminent, imminent, immanent. The ultimate transfer of power, ownership, resolution, outcome. So this is speaking in the slaying, the having slayed the head of the dragon. So all of this is speaking to the fact that in the new, this has been resolved. We've been elevated, and thereby, are we in alignment? Do we walk through the open door or not? And so it's eminent and unexpected. It's about maintaining inner readiness, which is faith, goodness of character, and so forth, so one isn't caught unprepared, facing exclusion from the divine, from God's kingdom, the divine, much like foolish maidens locked out. While Hindus might see not ready as unfulfilled potential needing maturity for truth. So again, it's, are we prepared? Are you individually prepared? Are we emptying our vessel? Are we honing and polishing our stone? Are we doing everything? It's fire and air, fluidness, accelerated movement. So think of this in our personal, in the micro. This can be as simple as, have we done all the spring cleaning? Have we done everything to ready our personal selves, our personal vessels, to move forward, to advance? Because again, there's an unknown here about where that's going to lead each of us. And then take that to the macro, the collective, and how as above, so below, and these massive changes, astrological advances that haven't occurred. Some of them have not occurred for thousands of years. And all of this is simultaneously happening all at once. So that in and of itself is a massive anomaly astrologically. As above, so below. Continuing the parable of the 10 virgins, the core meaning, or the maidens, comes from Matthew 25, where wise maidens with extra oil, representing preparedness, are ready for the bridegroom, Master Jesus, while foolish ones, lacking oil, are left behind when the door closes. So this ready or not, the door opens. And the knot, the tying of the knot, it's in this, the prophecy and the covenants, this is about a very deep commitment, a very deep spiritual alignment, commitment to your soul self, to that higher octave. And so in preparedness, ready or not, the door opens. Do you answer the call? Or are you left out because of being unprepared and the door closes? And this isn't a false narrative of preparedness. It's not about what we quote unquote do publicly for show. Oh, look at me, look at me. There's a beautiful saying by Master Jesus that, they're knocking, Rabbini, Rabbini, let me in. And he says, I know you not. So this is about purity, authenticity, truly aligning from your center so that your heart, the purity of your heart speaks truth. Because there's no manipulating and bartering and, BSing and all that stuff. That doesn't work. In the new, it will not work. The head, having slayed the dragon, the head of that old is lopped off. So it doesn't work anymore. And we're seeing this in real time. We're watching that thrashing and the fire and all the, the blah, what is it? I know the word I want, and this, just all this puffery and smoke and stuff of the past. It doesn't work. The people are standing up. They're seeing through it. They're not succumbing and cowering. They're rising. They're saying no more, not this, forward, not back, something higher, something better, something more pure. That's what the preponderance of humanity wants, is hearing that call. knows to be true. And thus they are standing up for it. They're aligning with it. They're seeking it. They're embodying it. That's where we are. So we have this. It's about vigilance and faith. It's a command to live in constant readiness, not knowing the hour, yet living in a way that aligns with divine teachings. It's about a spiritual state. Being, quote, ready means having faith, forgiveness, and a transformed life. Not just physical preparedness, but a state of grace. So one doesn't need to, quote, make things right at the last minute. So this is about walking the walk, walking the talk. And that this aspect of no second chances, the phrase implies an irreversible moment when the call comes. There's no time for last minute preparation or change. And this had to do with last week that, the trumpets, it was about hark the herald angels sing, a heavenly announcement, trumpet blast. Listen, a divine intervention. We're not to miss the coming words. And the words, of course, are creation, how everything came into existence. So we have all of this, and in Hinduism, it can be about unfilled potential, not ready, not yet ready. And it's about signifies a lack of spiritual maturity or understanding needed for ultimate truth, indicating potential that needs development for profound transformation. So this is all about this ready or not. The moral of the story is be ready, be in alignment. In every moment of every day, do what you can, do what's necessary to lighten your load, to align yourself, to move yourself forward so that when that moment arises, when it happens, ready or not, the door opens, you're ready. You walk, you cross, you've got the golden ticket. We've talked about the golden ticket a lot. You've got the golden ticket. You've come into the station on the train that is ending. You cross the platform, and in your hand, in your being, in your essence is the golden ticket. You get on the train that's going to everywhere, to that, it's Tomorrowland in a way. It's the movie Tomorrowland. But it's to that newness. And while this may sound, quote unquote, airy-fairy, spiritual, this is rooted in 2,000 plus years of prophecy, of covenant, of revelation, all of this stuff from a spiritual place, not from a religious Christianity standpoint. That is the backdrop, yes. However, that doesn't make its truth, its purity, any less real or restricted. It's about a direct connection. Master Jesus tossing the tables at the temple with the Pharisees and saying, you bar from the people what is rightly theirs, meaning the love of the Father, of the divine, this direct connection. That is true, as true today as it is 2,000 years ago. And thus, we're approaching this time where the octave of everything rises. So the purity of that connection, everything that would have blocked it, the head of the dragon is lopped off. It's slayed. And so there is a direct connection, and it's incumbent upon us to align with the purity of that offering, of that truth. Because again, the door opens. Are you ready? And so we have that, and then we have the door opens. So the door opens. Again, spiritually, an open door signifies divine opportunity, new beginnings, spiritual access, or a path forward, representing the divine invitation for growth, ministry, revelation. Revelation is awareness. However, it also suggests a threshold for spiritual engagement, requiring inner readiness to step into new phases of life, faith, and understanding. It can symbolize welcome, transition, or a clear path where hindrances are removed, inviting active participation in spiritual journeys. So you can see these themes that are playing out about the path and the threshold and this invitation, a journey. All of these things are occurring in this. And the key meanings of an open door are about opportunity and divine guidance, access to the divine, to the divine's presence, new seasons and transitions, spiritual revelation, spiritual awakening, an invitation and a welcome, and how to engage discernment. We have talked about the Seven of Cups in the tarot and discernment. We must use discernment. The Seven of Cups in the tarot has 7 cups. Some of those things in the cups are good, some of them less than good. Not, and so how you apply this in our individual lives, in your lives, is when opportunity comes, knocks, recognize the purity or the impurity of it. Believe it for what it is. I believe it's Maya Angelou. People are always showing you who they are. Believe them the first time. It's this type of thing, or see things for the way they are, not for the way you wish them to be. And then make decisions with discernment in how you engage with something or walk on by, or, again, because all of this is occurring when the door opens. So it's recognizing the source of something, the purity or the impurity of it. Being ready, spiritual doors require quieting the soul, meditation, or tuning into our intuition, our soul source connection, and respond so that we respond appropriately when the spirit calls, when we hear it. And it's an act of faith, or act with faith. Take steps through the door, understanding that the divine opportunities often come with challenges, and the divine's will is often found in that interplay. So again, there may be things that challenges, or air quotes tests, that come along and say, are you truly making this commitment? Are you truly aligned? Are you truly listening? Do you truly desire this? Because again, we don't get to fake our way through it. It's going to be innate. It requires that authenticity and that humility and purity of the heart, purity of the soul, purity of the truth, not some, mishmashed version of it that was allowed before. Why? It's number 1 from the unseen. They said, it's the song by Kathy Tricoli, everything changes. So everything changes. And they said, truth revealed, the past dismantled. And the lyrics in the song says, nothing looks the same through the eyes of love. So again, when we look through the purity of our heart, our eyes, our soul, nothing looks the same through the eyes of love. So everything changes. Everything is changing. And thereby the truth is revealed. So expect a lot of unearthing, a lot of things in these next 90 days. I mean, between now and coming into April and everything, or the conclusion of April, both eclipses, all of this, fire and air energy, all of this, the unearthing that comes with that, and how Pluto, all of these personal planets were lined up, and Pluto was handing out that ticket. It's like the ticket or the token, and it's saying, with great power comes great responsibility, meaning it was a reminder of the renewal of the commitment that each one of the personal planets, the interpersonal planets and the moon and the sun, were making as they crossed the threshold into, through Aquarius, denoting purity, empowerment, but the responsibility that comes with it. We don't get to rest on our laurels, or we don't get to, if we give our power away, well, then that is on us. But when we accept our power, our empowerment, with great power comes great responsibility. It is incumbent upon us to rise to the occasion, to work with that power, that energy, in a humane, responsible manner. Because again, it's going up an octave. So the unseen is really bringing to our attention. I'm just going to go, it's number 3, and there's 2 number 3s. So there's a 33 in this week, which has never happened before. It went 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, 3, 3. So the first 3 is, we've had this many times, peace be with you. A firm statement, a firm reminder But what they were saying this time was, peace be with you. A wake up call. Not a wake up call, but a wake up call. There's a difference. So from the unseen, from the divine, they're saying, wake up. Peace be with you. We're with you. Ready or not, the door is going to open. Your heart, we're going to meet you at your center. Are you ready for this elevation, this uplifting? As the head of the dragon is slayed, the old is dismantled, the past dismantled, the truth is revealed, and what you do with that, how rapidly you ascend, advance, move through, answer the call. So peace be with you. A wake up call. A firm statement and reminder that the divine, the unseen, is ever present with us, is leading, is the host, the master weaver, is leading the way. And are we in alignment? Are you in alignment? Because it's all, everything changes. So now let's go to, and the second number 3 while we're here. It's the lyrics from Come What May from Moulin Rouge, and they said, never knew I could feel like this. Where, when, fantasy meets reality. So again, Neptune having been in Pisces these last 14 years, the ideal of something, the hope, the wishes, the ideal of something. It's now in Aries, this first out of the gate fire sign, creative force, initiate. It's about making it real. So where fantasy meets reality. And Saturn is coming to co-present with Neptune so that here's the teacher and the idealist coming together in harmony to work together, along with Pluto and Uranus and that mini grand trine, this harmonic aspect, to bring about the new in a supportive, healthy, happy way. That in and of itself, typically the planets will oppose one another, or they'll square one another or something. Here they're acting, all the major players. I mean, it's like saying world leaders, major world leaders that would normally, contrast and conflict and everything, saying, oh, okay, I'll work with you. Okay, I'll work with you. Oh, it's for the greater good and harmony of the whole, of everyone? Okay, yeah, let's do that. It's a game changer. So that is where these energies are moving, because that old, what we're seeing in the current stage playing out on the world stage is this, the last remnants of the old way. Oh, I'm macho and tougher than you, and oh, I can, kill or be killed, and all of this stuff. But it's an old story, it's an old dragon, it's an old script. The new story, the rebirthed dragon, if you will, or the earth, the rebirthed beauty of the purity of the earth, it is about collective harmony, working together. Well, we must be that first within ourselves as well in order to meet the times and bring it all together. So this is where, ready or not, the door opens. Which do you ascribe to? Which one do you aspire to? Which one is calling you? The new or the old? No judgments. Everyone gets to make their choice, their decision. However, it also comes with the ecstatic experience of the choice you choose. So clearly the unseen is saying, choose the higher octave, choose that narrow path, thread the needle, because ready or not, the door opens. And we want to be aligned. We want to be ready. So now let's go to, we're going to go through these rather quickly because we have so many. This is astrologer Chani Nicholas. It's her weekly issue number 100. And it's Time to Dream Fiercely. And this is a once-in-a-lifetime cycle reboots on January 26, 2026. Neptune re-enters Aries. Though the planet of ideals had a minor stint in the courageous fire sign last year, this time it will stick around until 2039. This shift is here to motivate us to dream intentionally and fiercely about what we want to create and how and what we want to defy. Systems of domination and control don't just disappear on their own. They get defeated by countervisions that are too compelling to ignore. But imagination alone won't get us there. Enter, on Tuesday, the 27th, the Mars-Pluto conjunction. This astrology unleashes our personal and collective drive. It asks us to grapple with our deepest fears so we can show up for our lives with the greatest clarity possible. All this and a full moon in Leo on Sunday, it's coming up on the 1st of February, which we'll cover next week. Make this week one for the books. Use this loud lunation to channel your angst, your fear, and your worries into creative outlets. In other words, make it powerful and purposeful. Purposeful, pure, purposeful. If those happen to be protest signs, songs, or art, so be it. So we can see this octave of what's happening with Chandy Nicholas, the astrologer that she's talking to. Now I want to go to Pam Youngins, astrologer Pam Youngins at North Point Journal. And she's speaking about powerful currents. So you see how we were talking at the opening of the show. There's a lot of powerful energy occurrences, astrological events occurring. And the message from the unseen is align, 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 align. We don't need to be manic about it. But they're saying to us, align, 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 get in alignment. So Pam Youngins, North Point Journal. Two dynamic currents of change intersect and commingle in this final week of January 2026. We are already feeling the effects of the turbulent Mars-Pluto conjunction that perfects on the 27th of January, while also being aware of the profound shift that is underway as high vibrational Neptune departed Pisces and entered Aries on the 26th of January. Not to be ignored, a dramatic Leo full moon occurs on Sunday, February 1st. This influence will be affecting our world for at least a few days. So that she's talking about the full moon lunation. So it will be affecting us for a few days before and after the event. Adding to the significance of this lunation, that full moon in Leo, it marks the beginning of our first eclipse season of 2026. With an Aquarius solar, meaning sun, solar eclipse occurring on February 17th, and a total lunar eclipse, the moon, in Virgo on March 3rd. Mars-Pluto. It's hard to ignore the intensity of interactions between Mars and Pluto. Mars is the planet of assertive action, while Pluto is a catalyst for major transformation. Together, these planets can initiate events that have the potential to alter our individual and collective course in impactful ways. Our reactions under a Mars-Pluto alignment can be visceral. Deep fear and anger may be triggered, tempting us to act more on instinct than on reason. Discernment, discernment, discernment. Utilize discernment. This is why, as we work with the pressures of current events, it is important to feel and process the emotions that arise, but then to make sure we are grounded and in alignment with our higher wisdom before initiating any actions. So it's all about take a beat, take a breath. We can take in, we can feel our feels and so forth. However, before we act, make sure that we've utilized discernment. Make sure we're in alignment with our soul source connection, not our ego, mind, personality, human. And lastly, Pluto at work. With this week's Mars-Pluto conjunction, we see the many facets of the dwarf planet's persona being activated. As the psychotherapist, Pluto delves into the darker side of the human psyche, exposing all that has been suppressed or repressed. As god of the underworld, it takes us on a journey of death and rebirth, most times figuratively, but sometimes literally. As an agent of purification, Pluto brings to the surface the toxins that have been poisoning the system. So we've talked about how this head's being lopped off and how there's that umbrella protecting us, but that the moon, opposing all of these 5 planets that are in a stellium in Aquarius, that the moon, she can reveal. She absorbs the light, she can conceal, but she also reflects. It's a full moon. It's going to bring things out. So this can bring to the surface the toxins that have been poisoning the system. In its role as an agent of empowerment, Pluto shows us where we have given our power away to an external force so that we might claim back our sovereignty. So this is showing us, where have I given my sovereignty, my power away? And that it gives us the ability to reclaim it. And as the transpersonal planet of divine will, Pluto, it radiates a powerful evolutionary force that drives change on the level of the soul. So this is deep, 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 lasting change. That last 165-year cycle is complete. It's done. We've just crossed the threshold. We're at the 0 point of Aries, beginning a new 165-year journey. So again, we won't see the completion of this, but we're at the beginning of it. And that's exciting that we all came in to be here at this moment, to be at the beginning of this. So now let's quickly go. I want to go to hexagram 3. We're working with hexagram 3 and hexagram 24. Hexagram 3, and it's our first quote. The birth of a new venture or relationship is an entry into the unknown. We are entering the unknown. We have never been here before. It has been eons since this all happened, or any portion of these things have happened. So the birth of a new venture or relationship is an entry into the unknown. Remember that that relationship can also be the one with yourself. That it's new. This birth of a new relationship where you're listening to your soul source connection, to the wisdom of your soul, let alone externally. So, and this is from divination.com. New things seem to be rushing upon you, and confusion can easily take over. However, chaos is a powerful force when you harness it properly, so don't rush things now. Do not let events overwhelm you. As you take the first step, stay calm and ready to persevere. Ask for guidance and support. Ask the unseen. Ask your soul. Ask the divine for guidance and support, and then listen. Quote number 2, challenges lie ahead, but they are challenges you can handle. And it was very important that the unseen brought to me that literally this is an image of the Giza pyramid and the Great Pyramids. So challenges lie ahead. So the unseen is tying us back, harking back to this era of ancient Egypt. I mean, ancient Egypt. And when these would have been brought about, not what history says to us. Oh, this is when that happened. Way back. So challenges lie ahead, but they are challenges you can handle. Gain strength, find courage. Like a newborn fawn, the opportunity for rapid development, fire and air, is here. Yet it is only through determination, it's our key word, determination, that the fawn can rise to its feet and grow to full stature. Keep going despite difficulties, and you will find the success that you desire. A key challenge at this time is to maintain clarity. 7 of Cups, discernment, clarity. Avoid lunging at solutions. Do not start a new project or relationship before thinking it through. Make yourself wait until a good course of action becomes clear. It's going to be a knowingness. You're going to know what to do and when. Divine time, divine will, divine order. A careless step in the beginning can cause events to get out of control later. But this doesn't also, don't second guess yourself either. When you know it's right, you're going to feel it. It's going to be a feeling, not necessarily a thought. It's not going to be monkey mind chatter telling you something, your ego, mind, personality, human. It's going to be a knowing. And then, if anything, it might be that the ego, the human, is going, but the knowing says, go forward, go do this. And that's how you know that then things won't get out of control later. And be sure to enlist the advice of experienced people and wise supporters. So again, it takes a village. We don't do anything in life alone by ourselves. And so again, seek out wise counsel, people that are speaking positively of you and you're not even in the room, people that want for you. And when you know that people don't, when there's envy and jealousy and shadow and harm, walk on by. Don't engage. No need to. With great humility and grace, let them go. Move forward. Advance. Now, hexagram 24. And this is about returning. A turning point recharges you and eventually brings success. This hexagram is associated with the turning of darkness back toward the light, the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, which of course was on 12/25 last year. The shortest day of the year, the day when darkness begins to decrease and the hours of daylight begin to increase. This is the cusp of a turnaround, a time for letting go of the old and making way for the new, a time of new beginnings. It all starts with rest. So this rest meaning listen to your bodies, listen. When you need a 20-minute cat nap, take one. When you need to, disengage or something to renew, do so. Take a bath, listen to beautiful music, meditate, whatever it might be. Don't move too fast, as a new momentum is just beginning. So we're just coming into all of this new. I mean, it's moving forward quickly, but here we are. This turnaround requires that your energy be recharged by adequate rest so that your life force is not depleted prematurely. This principle of hibernation, or allowing energy to renew itself and be strengthened by rest, applies to many situations. Recuperation after an illness, the slow return of trust after a period of estrangement, the careful development of new relationships after the splitting apart of old ones. And it's our quote number 3. Sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. Your character is your fate. And this is a proverb. And so it's about, what are we sowing? Are you sowing in alignment with divine will, divine time, divine order, your soul? Or are you sowing on the open path with your ego, with the past and ego and hubris and all of these things that lead you astray, take you off the narrow path? So we have this, there's so much here. Whew. Let me know in the comments. It's high octane for me. Number 5 from the unseen is a monumental shift, transition, transformation is upon you. Walk like an Egyptian. Walk like an Egyptian is our mantra. So walk like an Egyptian. That's a famous song by, I believe, the Bangles. Anyways, walk like an Egyptian. Spiritually, it symbolizes aligning oneself with Ma'at, known as cosmic balance, truth, and order, reflecting a life lived in harmony with divine principles. Derived from ancient tomb art, the pose represents a multi-dimensional view of existence, where physical actions are interconnected with spiritual, magical, and eternal realms. This is about uniting from the inside out the human, the ego, mind, personality human, with the soul source connection, and living in alignment where you bring about cosmic balance, truth, and order. It represents, walking like an Egyptian represents harmony with the cosmos. The pose embodies the Egyptian concept of Ma'at, representing balance, justice, and the natural order of things. It's about connection to the divine. The posture, often seen in art, signifies a bridge between the mortal world and the divine, reflecting a state of being in tune with higher powers. It's about eternity and protection. And remember that canopy just going to bring it up really quickly here, that canopy is that they are protecting us, shading us, protecting us, but also uplifting us, empowering us, evolving us, advancing us. And so it is about eternity and protection. Walking like an Egyptian is the posture represents a state of existence with symbolic, protective, and ritualistic significance in life, in our preparation for what lies beyond where we are. It's about a unified self. It represents a holistic view of a person showing all parts of the self simultaneously to ensure wholeness. And it's also about a cultural expression. It serves as a modern dance or gesture of unity, celebration, and self-expression. So here we are, they're saying to us, a monumental shift, transition, transformation is upon you. Walk like an Egyptian. And then number 6, because it's referenced in number 5, and number 6 denotes spirit and service from the unseen, and they literally said, Mot. And so, again, we're going way back in ancient Egypt. And Mot is the ancient Egyptian concept and goddess of truth, balance, order, law, morality, and justice, essential to preventing chaos. Appearing in the Old Kingdom circa 2613 to 2181 BCE, she is depicted as a woman with an ostrich feather, which was used in the afterlife to weigh the hearts of the deceased. Ready or not, the door opens. The door is associated with the heart. Thus, this beautiful image of doors opening with that heart embracing them at the center. And this is what Mot is weighing. She's weighing our hearts, the purity of what's at our center. Mot represented the cosmic and social order, ensuring the harmony of the universe, seasons, and the daily lives of people and gods. Pharaohs were considered beloved of Mot, as their duty was to uphold her principles. So the leaders of the time were in alignment with Mot. It was their duty, their sworn duty, their covenant, to uphold the laws of Mot. And this is where we have moved away from that, and yet we're returning. The ostrich feather represented her essence, truth, balance, and order. In the, quote, weighing of the heart ceremony, the deceased's heart was weighed against this feather. When the heart was lighter or equal, they entered the afterlife. This is about the 42 declarations of purity, or negative confessions as they're known. These were a set of 42 declarations, often referred to as the 42 laws of Mot, that a deceased person would recite in the underworld to declare their innocence of sins against Mot. This examples included not killing, not stealing, not speaking lies. And again, there's atonement, own, atone, release, that when we atone for things genuinely, authentically, truly, deeply, that we are absolved of those actions, and they're not dependent on someone else. They're solely dependent on the authenticity, the depth of the purity of our intention. So there, again, that's regaining our sovereignty, our power. So it's not about somebody accepting your apology. It's about the fact that you authentically atone, own it, atone for it, release it. And the core principles revolved around living a just, moral, and balanced life to maintain the cosmic order against isfit, or chaos. Mot's influence extended beyond the underworld into daily life, where she guided ethical behavior and justice, with her name often used in legal contexts and personal names. So again, there was a great reverence and adherence. And so it is, again, this, having slayed the head of the dragon, we move forward with peace, reverence, and renewed determination. That renewed determination of purity, of harmony, of balance, of doing, love thy neighbor as thyself, doing right by oneself, which means you're already doing right by another. So all of these aspects culminating and coming together in this 10-year It's represented by the Wheel of Fortune. We're moving forward. We have the 1, so the 10, which is the Wheel of Fortune, becomes the 1, which is the magician, the major manifester. That we have everything within us to create, to manifest, to actually succeed. And that we're embarking on the fool's journey. And the fool is not a fool like naive. The fool is empowered, meaning, what is the awe and wonder before me? What lies before me? And how I have emptied my vessel. You see the knapsack, he just has what he needs. And I go with my trusted companion, the purity of my companion, my faith, my determination, knowing that when I step off the mountain, the white clouds, the unseen, carries me, guides me, leads me, nourishes me, and I succeed, and I expand, I ascend, I transcend. And that brought me to Gene Key 41 by known as The Pulse by Richard Rudd. And it says, in our genetics, the 41st key, gene key, corresponds to the initiator codon in DNA, the capital letter at the beginning of every genetic sequence. It carries the frequency of emanation, the initial impulse of something new, the seed of a dream before it takes shape. In the tarot, this same mystery is captured in the figure of the Fool, the archetype of the pure beginning. The Fool does not follow a plan. He or she follows an inner call, an inner wisdom. The city of the 41st gene key is, in essence, the Great Return. That is hexagram 24. It is the Great Return, the journey of following one's own emanation back to source. Not chasing an outcome, but trusting the truest impulse within you, your soul source connection, and allowing it to lead you with innocence, courage, and surrender all the way home. Dare to be divine. And so you can see how all of this is interconnecting. We're on the journey, the hero's journey, the fool's journey. And we've crossed this threshold. We're at this massive new beginning, elevating, rising. And so I want to conclude with Astrology by Lauren, and she's speaking about Neptune enters Aries on January 26, 2026. She begins with a quote by Charlotte Sophia Castle. The spiritual warrior hides from nothing. We jump into the fire and air. We jump into the fire. We dive into the ocean. We become the sea. What is this feeling we have been having of things dissolving? Here it is. The truth revealed, the past dismantled, everything changes. So what is this feeling what is this feeling we have been having of things dissolving, of our feet being mired in quicksand, our vision obscured, and our hearts consumed? In some way, we are being asked to take the next step on the next leg of our journey, even though we cannot see our hands in front of our faces. The world is spinning out of control and taking us all for a ride. Hang on. It may feel like chaos, up one day and down the next. However, what this actually is a rebirth. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and when a major planet enters this sign, as Neptune did this week, there is a surge of raw energy being released, heralding, hark the herald angels sing, heralding that rebirth. And as we stand here with Neptune in the very first degree of its 165-year journey, we have no idea what we are getting ourselves into. This is the Fool. This is where faith and trust and listening, not to our ego, mind, personality, human. It's going to be afraid. It will give us monkey mind chatter and all of this stuff. But our soul is true north. Our soul is the divine. It's connected to the divine. It knows where we're going. And so while we're standing here, as we stand here with Neptune in the very first degree of its 165-year journey, we have no idea what we are getting ourselves into. That may be. The ego, mind, personality, human may not know, but the soul does. And this is where discernment and listening to your soul, aligning with divine time, will, and order is crucial. It's paramount. Ready or not, the door opens. So continuing with Astrology by Lauren. As all of humanity stands at the threshold, we are all being asked to have hope, even in the face of what looks and feels like a total disaster, and to have faith even though we have no reason to. When Neptune, and just this is because we're witnessing the deconstruction, the collapse, and yet simultaneously, the new is rising. The collapse is louder at this moment than the rise. But that balance will shift. That paradigm will shift. And all of a sudden, what's collapsing will be less. What's rising will be greater, more present. When Neptune finally crosses over into Aries on the 26th of January, like an infant fresh from the womb, we have no choice but to become totally invested with this new life force. And so here we are needing to trust the process, even when it makes no sense to do so from where we are now. Aside from Neptune's brief entrance into Aries last year, the previous time Neptune entered Aries was in 1861, when 11 states in the United States decided to secede from the Union. By occupying a Union fort outpost on April 12, 1861, April 12th, civil war was officially declared. On April 14th, Neptune entered Aries. And then on April 15th, President Lincoln called for 75,000 volunteers to join the Union Army, and so the Civil War began, and the rest is history. Astrology is cyclical, not identical. So where we were as a species or as Americans at that time, 165 years ago, again, the vast majority of Americans seek peace and respect and goodness and kindness. And so the balance of what may present itself now, what the unseen is saying to me is there's a greater preponderance this time around of goodness, of greatness, of divine unity. We want something better than there is of the goo, the shadow. And so this experience will be different, cyclical, not identical. There are two principles from that period that are now resonating within the current political climate. But within that resonance, we still have the power of our choices. Aries is a martial sign, a sign of war. But Neptune, at its very core, is also a planet of compassionate ideals and spiritual values. When Neptune enters Aries, we feel the necessity to fight for principles, to fight for our ideals, and make them manifest. We will feel the necessity to do this in the very marrow of our bones, to the core of our being, our souls. Aries brings us that necessity to do, in capital letters, to do something, to have faith in the power of our ideals and the courage to stand up for them and be counted. It's like to stand firm. That's what's happening. People are marching in sub-zero temperatures in tens or hundreds of thousands saying no, no, no. And that speaks volumes. It tips the scales to this higher ideal. Astrology by Lauren. We've got the numbers. And with Pluto in Aquarius, we the people have the power. For the past week, one by one, the inner planets, our everyman, everyday planets, have entered Aquarius. On Friday, Mars is the last of these to enter the halls of freedom, brotherhood, and equality, where he will meet Pluto standing at the gate. Remember, here's the token, the ticket. With great power comes great responsibility. There's a purity to moving forward. A new era is dawning where all the major planets will be working together, seemingly making a concerted effort to bring us to a new plateau in our evolutionary journey. And this will be despite ourselves, because we all are still releasing the goo. There's 8 billion souls, humans on the planet. We still have tendrils and strings or whatever of shadow and goo that we're all working with. That's okay. It's just how quickly do we empty the vessel, hone and polish the stone, align, be ready, so that ultimately we just effortlessly rise. There's no conflict. Know that Mars-Pluto weather can feel like a declaration of war in and of itself. Channeled through Mars, the god of war, the dark lord of transformational change, is being unleashed upon the world. Like a match poised to strike, Mars often serves as a catalyst. Mars-Pluto weather can feel dark, vengeful, even cruel. However, that same energy can be a constructive force for good. When channeled constructively, Mars-Pluto weather is excellent for rebuilding, rebirthing, rehabilitating, and doing some deep and much needed purification. It depends on how we use it. Now that Neptune is entering Aries, where it will be for the next 14 years, it may be helpful to ask ourselves, what is that one thing, that one principle you are most willing to make sacrifices for? What are you willing to put yourself on the line for? Whether that be an ideal, a cause, an idea, a country, your children and their descendants, or perhaps a creative vision for the future that feels so much larger than ourselves. Because it is something greater. This matriarchal Aquarian we the people era is about something greater than ourselves. We receive by honoring and serving the greater good, the greater collective. And in reciprocity, the I receives. That's a complete inversion of where we've been. And so, what is your vision for the future that you're wanting to manifest? Know that by the time all the outer planets, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, have officially changed signs and are also creating this incredibly supportive fire-air cradle of energetic action this year, our world will never be quite the same again. It may even be unrecognizable in the end. And collectively, we are going to be the architects of that new world. We can do this, and may we do it the right way. It's a wake up call. This is all like, are you ready? Ready or not, the door's opening. Here we go. Everything changes. And number two, I skipped over number two. This was so fascinating. What I heard was tick tock, tick tock. What I saw was TikTok, TIKTOK, the social media app. And then tick, TICK, talk, TOCK. And then they said, so TikTok, TikTok. It's merely a matter of time. So there's both an element of time here, but there's also something about, and you see in the press and the news that powers that be currently bought TikTok. So there's an aspect here about how we interact with social media, who owns it and controls it, what are the algorithms, and in essence, when we are called to do so, it's to reject those manipulations, those impurities, things that may be exposed. Because again, if everything has been amassed at the top and they're controlling the narrative, it goes back to Tomorrowland and Hugh Laurie's character. There's a famous soliloquy in Tomorrowland where he says, in essence, the unseen says, but we warned you and we gave you, opportunity after opportunity, chance after chance after chance. And you didn't listen. You didn't do anything. So this is about being willing to say no, to let go of our quote unquote shadow, our addictions. Are we addicted to an algorithm, to a social media, to something, or do we become aware that we're being manipulated and controlled, or that's the attempt? And when we simply walk away from it, air quotes, the powers that be, those that own or control it, are left with no choice but to change. Because again, We, the people, 8 billion souls on the planet, or those that work for these companies that know what's happening. And I'm not being a conspiracy theorist, I'm just saying, when in the shadow, people are in the know. It doesn't occur in a vacuum. So as you become in the know in terms of utilizing or interacting with these things, what are you willing to stand up for? What are you willing to release to say that's no? Not until you get your house in order, not until you purify your house, not until you get in alignment. And thereby, I don't need this. There's something about this with TikTok and time. So the social media app, TikTok, and time. There was also there's things in the press about the new terms and conditions, terms of use for TikTok, and how it was sending alarm bells. So again, wake up is what the unseen is saying. And Astrology by Lauren, so she concluded, we can do this, and may we do it the right way. And she ends with a quote by William Q. Judge. What then is the universe for? And for what final purpose is man, the immortal thinker, here in evolution? It is all for the experience and emancipation of the soul, for the purpose of raising the entire mass of manifested matter up to the stature, nature, and dignity of conscious godhood. It's for the purpose of being divine. Well, we can't be divine when we're laying in the muck. It requires us to purify, cleanse, renew, choose better, choose a higher octave. That's what the unseen, the universe, the divine, is delivering with all of these massive astrological and the timeliness of it. Again, the timeliness of this. All happening, click, 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 click. Let us, humans, rise to the occasion, rise to the moment. Cannot wait to see what they have in store for us next. February has the upcoming eclipses, and thus we will come into that. And I left out astrology.com, we're too far over. I'm going to pick that up in this coming next week's show with the Leo new moon, because it's very important and it addresses the upcoming eclipses. So until then, hone and polish your stone. Ready or not, the door opens. Be ready. We'll see you next week.